Hello and welcome to Inderes TV. Sitowise released their Q3 report today, and I have the pleasure to interview their CEO Heikki Haasmaa. Hi Heikki.
Hi, great to be here.
Let's start with the Q3 in a nutshell. What was the main takeaway from the report?
Yeah, I would start with emphasizing our business performance in our infra and also digital units. So actually both really outperformed the market in terms of sales and also profitability. So we can be really satisfied with those performances. Then on the other hand, buildings market continued to be really weak, and that burdened clearly our buildings business. Of course, heavy work has been done, but still we are not in the level where we want to be in there. In Sweden, as we already said during the second quarter, so we anticipate a weaker third quarter because there haven't been just enough work for our people already, like from the second quarter onwards. And that really now materialized as well. That's really pressing the profitability, or clearly pressing the profitability in Sweden. However, I'm really satisfied we've taken very strong actions there to improve the performance for the next quarters. And clearly we can see from early indicators that this turnaround is really happening. So these are some of the highlights, or like also lowlights. But overall, of course, then sales declined by 8%, really much because what I just explained, and then adjusted EBITDA at level of 5.8%. Then maybe a couple of still additional highlights. Really want to say that, okay, of course, for us it was really important that we won the Vantaa light rail project in Finland. So that's like a landmark project, and we'll be providing a lot of workload for our infra business in the future years. And also we completed one acquisition. It's a smaller one, but Land Pro. So really welcoming all of those employees to us. And that's helping us to further also capture the potential in the energy sector. And they are really focusing on the permitting processes and so on. Yeah. So maybe those are the main highlights.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. So as you said, profitability was on the weaker side this quarter. Could you explain in detail what the biggest drivers were behind the weaker? Well, you sort of touched on it already, but behind the weaker profitability.
Yeah. So as said again, infra did see really great performance over our target of 12%. So that's not really the issue. Buildings slightly negative. Market is really weak. Maybe good to say that, or share still that naturally the like a new built residential housing segment is really down in Finland. So there's basically not much happening in the whole market, and that's putting pressure on us. We haven't been able to get like enough workload for our people. Then it's also seen in the lower utilization rate, which is like a key thing in our business. Of course, adjustments have been made, and I can elaborate on those ones. But so that's really that's the like a second biggest driver for the lower profitability, and the biggest, as said, is Sweden. That was notably loss making because of insufficient workload.
So personal costs and other inflationary pressures were mentioned again in the report as factors affecting profitability. Are you expecting this trend to continue, or can you raise your prices to sort of mitigate those effects in the future?
Yeah, we have been actually really successful in our digital business. So I really would like to thank all of the people there. Also in infra, we have been pretty good, taking into account also that the market is not like booming, but it's stable. So that has been good. Then, of course, in the like a buildings business, and also in our most of our business in Sweden is also related to like the buildings technical consulting. So when the market is tough, there's overcapacity. There are other companies who also want to fill in their order books. That leads to this kind of like a pricing pressure. And then what comes to the wage inflation, of course, there are like a general increase in both of the countries. What comes to the future, okay, it's really uncertain yet that what the general increases will be. I hope that they will be modest. And of course, we have then actions that we want to mitigate either by just being clever with the pricing, go for the higher profitability projects when just possible, and then naturally also adjusting our basically cost structure to help with the basically mitigate the negative cost inflation impact.
Yeah. So then if we briefly touch on competitors, who are the main competitors in Finland and Sweden? What's your position compared to them at the moment? Yeah.
So actually there are basically two groups of competition, because I'll start from the digital business this side. They are not the traditional players in the industry. They are more the IT companies. But we have been actually succeeding really well there. So compared to several IT companies, we've been, with the growth, we are pretty much in line with the competition. However, what comes to the profitability, at least with our understanding, we should be among or even the leading one with the profitability. So that's of course a great thing. But then coming to the buildings and infra business, so they are the traditional big Nordic companies. I don't want to start to list all of them, but Nordic traditional technical consulting companies, but of course also some smaller companies. But mostly, especially in infra, we are competing with the big Nordic players.
Okay. The first results from adjusting resources to match the current demand and workload in Sweden were seen now in Q3. Of course, the effects are probably expected to be greater going forward.
Yeah. As I said, so now, this quarter was really much about I would say adjustments. All of these kind of critical actions have been now already completed. That means that, of course, we are really much expecting that now the profitabilities of the businesses in Sweden will be significantly growing. They were notably loss-making, so of course there's also room for the improvement, and that's what we are expecting to happen as well.
Yeah. And still staying in Sweden, the streamlining of the local operations that were mentioned already in Q2 as a step to improve the situation, how has that progressed?
Yeah, that's progressed well. Basically, of course, these are tough decisions to do, but we had to cut basically our employees by 10% from the operative people or the people with the projects, and then by 20% in the admin functions. But that's now done, and as a result of that, we already see that some of the key indicators are really improving. Then we also decided to go from the regional structure. We had there 4 different regions to a national structure. Now we have basically the same kind of businesses what we have in Finland. So building construction services, installation services, and then infra. And also increasingly, we are going to focus on the environment and sustainability consulting as well. The market is there in a good shape, and we want to also capture that.
Yeah, and that's probably an easy way to sort of cut the administration, is to make them business-based and not region-based.
Yes, this has been also one of the ways there.
So your defined growth segments are sustainability, renewable energy, and industry. What does the situation look like in these segments at the moment?
Yeah, they have been actually growing really well, all of them. So we haven't disclosed the actual details of the increases there, but I can just say that, of course, sustainability services, that's been really increasing well compared to last year. So of course we also got some tailwind because we did a couple of acquisitions and they have been supporting. So we are definitely there growing really fast, more than double digits. So that's fine. And then in the energy side as well, of course, the market is hot still, and there we have had a really good progress overall. Still, one segment where we naturally want to also get a little bit more, our presence is the industry sector. There it's pretty stable. Industry has been also facing a little bit challenges now during this year compared to last year, but that's been going well. And maybe the security sector is also one now we have been focusing a lot there. So of course, as a result of this geopolitical situation, NATO, both in Finland and Sweden, we see that there will be like a huge demand for the services in the coming years. And we have already now progressed really well this year as well.
Okay, good. And then a final question. The market conditions have been tough so far this year. And are there any signs of improvement? And what are the risks connected to these possible signs?
Yeah, like we today said, also in our second quarter webcast, we see basically, okay, if I think about from our angle, this one, so we said the infra market will be stable. What comes to this, like a digital business market, we see that, okay, it's still stable, but there are signs of improvement, especially in the private sector. And that would be, of course, really good thing for us. Then for the buildings business, unfortunately, the signs are not so good for the improvement. I mean, so it's weak, and it will be probably weak at least H1 next year. Maybe second half of next year it would start to improve a bit. But in Sweden, actually, as I said earlier, a lot of our business is in the buildings side there. But there we see that even though the market is weak, but it might be improving a bit faster than in Finland. So that should be a good thing for our business in Sweden. Yeah. So Infra and Digital going forward stably or even improving, and then with buildings we have a bit of a problem. Exactly, and that that's like a good conclusion also here. So now we see that we are pretty much in the bottom in the markets. Now there are just like opportunities for the future growth. Yeah, sounds good. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us, Heikki. Thank you.